Today is Kombucha Day. Kombucha coming at you.
This is awkward.
And if you're asking yourself, what the actual frick is kombucha? Let me tell you. Kombucha is a fermented black tea. Yeah, I know that doesn't sound very appealing, but it's really tasty and it's really good for you. And I'll show you how to make it. Kombucha coming at you. But first, there's a few things you will need.
This recipe makes just over 3 litres of kombucha. You will need 8 black tea bags. It's important to use black tea and not any flavoured or fruit varieties. You will also need 260 grams of sugar. Now don't be alarmed as that may seem a lot of sugar, but the sugar is needed and mainly used up in the fermentation process. And now for the scary part that makes all the magic happen. Presenting the scoby and starter tea. Yes, it may look like an alien, but this is what creates the wonderful drink. To brew the tea, you'll need a heat-proof bowl or jug. And to ferment it, you'll need a wide-neck glass jar. Here I'm using a 3-litre Kilner drinks dispenser.
Kombucha coming at you. One of the key things when making kombucha is not to use plastic or metal with it. So glass, ceramic, and even a wooden spoon, they're all good.
Wooden plastic!
And now it's time to put on the kettle. Once the kettle is boiled, add 1.5 litres of hot water to the tea bags. Leave the tea to brew for 20 minutes, which means you've got plenty of time for
I'm knackered after that. Right, back to the kombucha. Now the tea is brewed, we're going to add in the sugar. Now you're going to see me stir this with a metal spoon, and I know I said don't put metal or plastic in this, but as long as you keep it away from scoobs, it'll be fine. But after this point, don't do it. It's not worth it. You then want to leave this mixture to cool down to room temperature. And now it's scoby time. I was going to try and explain what a scoby is, but I do have a Scooby-Doo what a scoby is. See what I did there? But I can't explain, so I'm going to read it from Google. A scoby is a cellulose mat that houses the bacteria and yeast cultures that turn sweet tea into kombucha. A new or baby scoby is produced each time you make kombucha, and the scoby also helps turn sweet tea into more kombucha. It's basically the means through which kombucha replicates itself.
That's an interesting story.
I'm not sure that explains anymore. It does go on to say it's a bit like sourdough bread and mother. I don't know, don't question it. It works, it's magic, it looks like an alien jellyfish. It's fine. It won't hurt you. I promise. Just don't eat it. Although, I think I read somewhere you could eat it, but once you see one, I don't think you want to.
Don't put that biz in your mouth, man!
So here's our little friend in the starter tea. So each time you make kombucha, you'll need to reserve some of the tea you made from the previous batch. But if you're starting from scratch, you can get like what I did, buy a scoby in starter liquid, which I got from Amazon. I'll put the links below. So what we'll need to do next is get the Scoby starter tea into the kiln jar, which will be fun. I might try and do one-handed. I don't know. I may get it all over the top. We'll see. Let's try it. Hi. Do you think it's going to work? I don't know. I feel the pressure. I feel the pressure of an audience.
I'm under so much pressure.
Let's see if I can get it in there. That would have gone better if I had actually remembered to turn the tap of the kiln jar off.
Moron.
So if you're using a drinks dispenser, I don't even know why I'm telling you this, but if you are using a drinks dispenser, turn the tap off when you pour stuff in it.
Well, duh.
I now cleaned up all the mess I've made. We're going to add another 1.5 litres of cold water to the kiln jar. And while we wait for our tea mixture to cool down, I'll give you a tour of the kitchen. As you can tell, there is a slight theme in my little pink kitchen.
Who'd live in a house like this? David, it's over to you.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Lloyd.
I would show you the other side of the kitchen, but I'm not going to. It's where all the washing up and all the messy stuff is. You're not seeing it. No. Back off. You're not seeing it.
Geez, spoil sport.
Now, once your tea mixture is cool, you can then pour it into your kiln jar. I know, do you think third time lucky, or do you think I'm going to pour this over the worktop like everything else? Who knows? Tap is, however, off. I learned from my mistakes.
Nice job.
Now, you don't want to put a lid on this, but you do want to cover it. So I suggest using a bit of kitchen towel or a clean bit of fabric and an elastic band. There we go, he's all tucked up. Ready? Kombucha, coming at you. Now, the best place to store your brew is somewhere that's out of direct sunlight, but also got a good flow of air. So a cupboard isn't the ideal place unless it's in a cupboard that's open frequently or left open a lot. So on the work surface, out of direct sunlight is perfect. The kombucha will take about 7 days to brew. If you try it on the 7th day to see what sort of flavour, it shouldn't be super sweet because a lot of the sugar should have been eaten or processed by the Scoby. If it tastes good to you on the 7th day, you can then start decanting it into bottles. If you prefer your kombucha still, you can go ahead and put it straight in the fridge, ready to enjoy. If you prefer it to be sparkling, it can be fermented for a second time to add some fizz. To do so, you will first need to decant and seal it in a swing top bottle. This should then be kept on the countertop for a couple of days before storing in the fridge. Kombucha, coming at you. Like most of us, Scoobies from time to time are going to have the odd issue.
We all have unpacked issues. We all have trauma.
And the main one you hopefully won't, but may encounter, is the dreaded mould. When you look at a Scoby, it's actually quite hard to tell what's mould and what's not because they're such funny looking things. But mould is quite distinctive, it's often green, and it'll just look unusual compared to how your Scoby normally looks. If you find mould in anything in the liquid or in the Scoby, you've got to chuck the whole lot away. I know it seems so wasteful and sad to chuck your Scoby who've been making you all these wonderful drinks, but it's no good anymore. You need to buy a new one.
They broke the mold.
Over time, as your Scoby devours all that tasty sugar you're feeding him, he will invariably grow. And I found mine sort of almost like grow layers, like a pancake. You can sort of see the sort of layers of it. What you can do at some point is you can actually split your Scoby and share it with a friend.
What friends? I have no friends.
So why the heck would you actually drink fermented tea?
Beats me.
I'm not an expert on it, but I know it's very good for gut bacteria.
Gut! Real, very real gut!
And I think that's the whole thing with lots of fermented things, like, is it kimchi, that's the fermented cabbage, sauerkraut, all things like that. It's kind of in that family, so the more bacteria, the better, I believe.
What are you talking about?
I ain't a doctor, I don't know. But I like it because it tastes good and it's supposed to do good stuff for you, so it's a double win. Cheers. Now I like my kombucha pretty much straight up, but you can flavour it, I believe, with fruit juice or even fresh fruit. But you'll need to do this at the second fermentation and not when the scoby's still in it. I haven't really written any details below about how to do that because it's, like I said, it's not something I do, but a quick Google search, you should be able to get instructions on flavouring it up.
What does that taste like?
This is quite a hard drink to describe what it's like, but the longer you leave it, the more vinegary it'll get.
Vinegar.
I've always found it's had a vinegary undertone to it, and I know that sounds disgusting, but it's actually really, really good. But yeah, the longer you leave it, the more it's gonna get like that as the sugars get eaten, so the less sweet it gets. It's not bad, you can still drink it, but it might just not suit your palate. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little adventure into the land of kombucha. I still don't know how to say it. You don't know how many takes I've had to say kombucha. This stuff, fermented tea, awesome, love it.